Hi everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm bringing you an unhaul video. So I'm going to be showing you 17 books that I am removing from my bookshelves. I love unhaul videos so much. I think it's so interesting to see what people are taking off their shelves, what are no longer priorities for them, what they no longer feel the need to hold on to. I think it's just as interesting as seeing what is newly coming onto someone's shelf in a haul video. I think it's just a great way of seeing how someone has changed as a reader and has kind of reevaluated what they want from their book collection. And I think it's just really lovely seeing that there are books going back into the world, back into circulation, you know, allowing these books to find their perfect readers and fulfill their potential and not gathering dust on your bookshelf. I love seeing books go back into circulation. So I have 10 books that I have never read before that I want to get rid of. This is in an effort to reduce my physical TBR. And then I have 7 books that I have read before and I'm gonna start with those. None of these books I strongly disliked. There's one that I probably disliked, but we're gonna kick it off with possibly the most controversial book that I'm getting rid of, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, the original booktube darling. This is a good book. But I don't really have any other thoughts on it beyond that. Like, I enjoyed it. It's definitely nowhere near being a favourite for me. But because I know this has been a favourite book for so many people, I really feel like it's just better to put this book back into the world so a reader who will love it, because so many readers have loved it, will find it instead of it just sitting on my shelf, and I will never reread this. The Comet Seekers by Helen Sedgwick I read at the tail end of 2020. This one wasn't really for me, so back into the world it goes. Sweet Home by Wendy Erskine. This is a proof, so I don't really know what I'm going to be doing with this one because can't sell it, can't give it to a charity shop because then they will sell it, and can't do that with proofs. If that's not something you're aware of, I will link a video in the cards and in the description that I did all about proofs. I think I will definitely be able to find someone in my life that wants this though, because it is a collection of really fantastic short stories that are set in Northern Ireland. Do I want to keep this? I will never reread it, and I do just like having a collection of Irish books, you know? The thing is, I also just need more shelf space. So I always feel like if you're on the fence about whether you should get rid of a book or not, it probably means that you should get rid of it. Next I have 2 books by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So I have Half of a Yellow Sun and I have Americana. I also have an unread book by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie coming up in the next stack of books that are unread. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this too much. I'm never going to reread these. I think there are readers out there who will pick these up and will get value from them. But you know, trying to make space on my shelves. And I don't think they're serving a purpose on my shelves anymore. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. This was a book I read years and years ago and I've never reread it. I remember really loving it when I read it, but having heard a lot of people's thoughts on it recently, particularly Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe, I just don't think this is something that I want on my shelves anymore, and there is another Mark Haddon book coming up as well. I think this is another one that people will be surprised that I'm getting rid of, but it's When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. This is a really emotional, intense memoir that I know so many people have had such a profound connection to, and it has really impacted, and it didn't have that same kind of impact on me. So again, it's something that I want to put back into the world so it can fulfill a greater good than just being on my shelves. Now on to the books that I haven't read yet. Now, as I said, I think if you're on the fence about whether you should keep a book or not, it probably means you shouldn't. But if you do think I'm making a grave error by getting rid of any of these books, let me know and I will take that into consideration. This first book is the one that I feel the most conflicted about getting rid of. This is Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. This is one of those books that has just been sat on my shelf for so long and I never read it. Every story has 2 sides, every relationship has 2 perspectives, and sometimes it turns out the key to a great marriage is not its truths but its secrets. Oh, this sounds like a Leanne book. And the cover, look at it, it's so nice. This is the one that I feel most conflicted about, but it has just been sat on my shelf for so long. Next I have Arcadia by Ian Pearce. It feels like a weight has been lifted, like quite literally, because this is quite heavy. I don't think I will ever pick this up. I don't think I will ever have the desire to do this. I also feel quite conflicted about getting rid of The Kite Runner. Okay, so my problem with this book is that everyone tells me, oh my god, it's so emotional, oh my god, it's gonna make you cry, oh my god, it's gonna be so impactful, and that's probably all true. But when people tell me that, when people tell me I'm gonna cry, I don't want it. I'm like, don't tell me how to feel. I've put you in a bit of an impossible situation, because if you really think I should read this book, the more you tell me that I should read this book, the less I'm gonna want to read it. That doesn't really apply to any of the other books on this list because they haven't had that same thing where people have told me how I have to read it. I do feel like, and I feel the same way with a lot of the books, that I'm getting rid of. If I do ever feel compelled to read them, they are all books that I think I will be able to access quite easily, whether it's repurchasing it, which does seem kind of wasteful, but you know, I think books come to you at the right time in life. Maybe that right time will be 10 years from now, or I will be able to get them from a library or get an audiobook. Like, I will be able to get them somewhere if I feel really compelled to read them. A Spool of Blue Thread by Anne Tyler. Again, just don't really feel compelled to read this one, and I don't even really remember what it's about. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I read Fangirl, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't a favourite, but I had a good time. But I don't think this one's for me anymore. Maybe if I had read it when I actually bought it, which was several years ago, it would have been for me. But alas, time has passed. I can't change that now. Next I have Replica by Lauren Oliver. This is another one that's a proof, so I'm gonna have to figure out something else to do with it. I think I was really drawn in by the kind of gimmick of this book, which is that you have the story from one perspective, from Lyra's perspective on this side of the book, and then flip it over and you get it from Gemma's perspective, and I was kind of drawn in by that gimmick. But I think this is like dystopian sci-fi, and I don't feel like that's my vibe. Next I have When Did You See Her Last by Lemony Snicket. I don't really know why I have this book. I think I might have got it in like a book swap, but this is from the author of A Series of Unfortunate Events, which is one of my favorite book series of all time. I don't actually know anything about what this series is, and I do feel like I would enjoy it, but for some reason I have the second book in the series but not the first book in the series, and I've never actually felt compelled to buy the first book in the series. Again, it's one where I think if I have a massive compulsion to read it one day, I will be able to access it quite easily. I also have Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I love this cover, and her other books have designs that are in this kind of theme as well, and I think they're all really beautiful. I do think this is probably a fantastic book, but it's just not something that I want to prioritize in my reading right now, so it can go to a new home. This is the other Mark Haddon book. It is A Spot of Bother. I don't even really know what this is about. I think I bought it quite soon after reading The Curious Incident and then never got around to reading it. I don't feel like it's my type of book, so again, better off going to a new home. And finally, Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. It is going to feel like such a weight has been lifted when I no longer have this book on my TBR. This was another one of those books that is just so beloved that it puts too much pressure on me, it puts me off, and it very much is the epitome of if I do want to read it one day, I will have no trouble getting a copy of this. So there we have it. They are all of the books that I'm getting rid of. As I said, if you do think I'm making a grave error, let me know. Although I think the only ones that I am slightly on the fence about are Replica, maybe, and Fates and Furies. Like, Fates and Furies is the one that I'm really on the fence about. After getting rid of all of these books, my physical TBR now stands at this number, which I feel very okay about. For a long time, it was looking like it was going to be a lot worse than that, but we have a book haul that you'll be seeing in a few days. God, that was heavy. The thing is, I feel like that book haul isn't even my fault, so I don't think I should be blamed for it. So you have that to look forward to in a couple of days. I hope you guys are doing well. If you have any thoughts on anything I've mentioned, do leave a comment down below or just leave me your favorite emoji. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video.